quantity nails versus quality nails. What should you focus on? What's more important? We've seen this come up in social media recently, and we want to address this topic. We feel like it's really important right now on the Biz Talk. All right, Trace. Obviously, quality is important to you, which is why you work at Young Nails. So we know your take. Okay. We recently saw a post kind of circulating on social media about quality, quantity, what is more important. And there seemed to be a lot of focus on quality. Like, don't worry about time, the number of sets that you pump out. Don't worry about quantity. What we've seen on social media is that like quality is all you should focus on. What's your take on this? I have my opinion, obviously, Tracey, but what is your take on this?
I think you know how I feel because there was a lot of anger behind my texts once you sent that pic or the saying across.
Yeah,
and I'm
post.
like, it really, I mean, things don't get to me that way.
Yeah.
That really got to me.
Yeah. We have to first discuss what market we're talking about.
Right.
Because that is really important. The U.S. market is going to be different than like, let's say the Swedish market or the Japanese market or the European market. All these markets are different. What I'm talking about is specifically the U.S. market, okay? I know if you get your nails done in some countries in Europe, right, because we've traveled all over the world, it's different.
It is.
The client does not want to maybe get out of the chair in 45, and they're looking at every little detail. They don't mind sitting for 2.5 hours in the chair. They're actually used to it. I don't know if that's changed recently, but to my knowledge, that is the market in a lot of countries in Europe.
Right.
We're talking about the United States.
Well, hopefully they're getting paid for that time.
Well, that's the thing too. You need to get paid for it, right? Because if you're sitting, let's assume they are. Okay, let's just assume they are for 1 second. Let's now bring it back to the U.S.
Okay.
Where you don't have a choice. You have to be focused with quantity, right? Like there's no way around that.
I think, I know some nail artists who take quite a while to do their art, and it's insane art.
Right.
So they have to. Hand painting, and I mean, just these portraits are...
They're amazing.
It's amazing.
They're amazing.
But they're getting paid for that.
Right.
So their decision is, I love doing the art, but I'm going to be paid for and compensated for it. So they're doing a high level of art, getting paid, which is going to equal about the same amount that I'm doing as far as quantity, doing the kind of art that I do, which is what I choose to do. But I think that is the norm for most techs, is my area.
Yeah.
Most techs are working in salon. Clients want to come in, they want to get ombres, glitter, mylar, things like that, and time is a factor. Right.
So here's the thing. Like, I always really believe that you have to bring it back to like, are you planning on making a career out of nails?
Right.
Okay. So like, let's start there.
Yeah.
If nails is a hobby for you, then take as long as you want.
Yeah.
I mean, take 3 hours, 4 hours. Shoot, if nail manufacturing was a hobby for me, then I'll spend like 30 minutes making sure that every polish is like the way that it exits out of the machine has
all
to be
front-facing.
centered, front face. Look, it's just not going to happen. That's not reality. That's not the world we live in.
No.
Quantity is a reality of the market in the United States.
Yes.
Okay. So what I say and what you say is that you need both. You have to have quality. You have to have quantity. Quality is like the barrier of entry. almost. Like if you want to even compete in the nail game, your quality has to be there. And of course, the health of the natural nail.
Absolutely.
Like you have to have those things.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that we kind of teach or preach all the time. It's technique first, speed second.
Right.
So get your technique down and then increase your speed. What angered me, it was such a blanket statement.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm never going to badmouth anyone that takes 3 hours to do a set. I wouldn't anyway. But if they're getting paid, more power to them. That's what they've chosen to do. But to say, for me, and the health of the nail, I like that you said that, because these techniques that I do for speed, I do on myself.
Right.
And I'm not going to do anything that hurts me or
Right.
damages my nail on myself.
Well, that's the thing. It's speed is the last thing really that you focus on, right? You get your technique, the natural nail, all of quality is vital. It's important. Okay. But if you think that speed is not part of the game, the nail game in the United States, you are going to be in trouble. Okay. Unless you are like truly charging for your nail art that's taking you, if it's taking you 3 hours, you're charging, $270, whatever it is, $300 for the set, whatever that is, you're properly charging. That's a different type of nail business. It doesn't matter if it works and you're charging for your work, great. But the majority is not that. Most people, we know this from surveys. We've seen the studies. Consumers in the United States, they do not want to sit in the chair for longer than an hour. Majority.
The majority of people.
The majority.
And Habib, we talk to so many people. Do you know how many people that I do the math with them? Like, because they're so worried about if I go too fast. Sit down and do the math, and they're actually making less than minimum wage.
Yeah, I know.
That worries me, because they're not going to be in this field, and they could be so talented. And I'm like, you're not going to stay in this profession making this kind of money.
Right. Now here's the thing. If you don't need the money, and so it all, like, this is why always the core of the conversation has to be, are you trying to make an actual career out of it? Okay. Because if you want to, there's nothing wrong with working min wage. Like, there's nothing. It is a respectable gig, respectable job, but you can find a gig anywhere. Why go to nail school if you're going to do that? You go to nail school.
So much more.
Right. You go to nail school to build a career, you know what I'm saying? Like long-term, where you can put some financial comfort in your life.
Right.
It's hard to do that off of min wage. You can. It's really, really hard. You got to work a lot of hours, a lot of overtime.
And I don't want anyone to misunderstand me. Is like, there's jobs out there that's what they pay, and that's perfect.
Totally.
There's nothing wrong with it. But when you're in a profession where you have someone right next to you making 3-4 times the amount, and there's no difference in your work, the only difference is that you feel bad charging charging that amount or going too fast.
Right.
That's when there's a problem. Like, the potential is so much more than that for you.
That's the key.
Yes.
The potential in nail is you can make a lot of money, period.
Yep.
But you can't, like, it scares me when I see information like that go out into the marketplace. It really freaks me out, because I'm like,
blanket statement.
Yeah, it's a blanket statement, and it can be misinterpreted very, very, very easily, by saying that nails is a quality game, not a quantity game. That's just not true, especially in the United States. It is a quantity game and a quality game.
Yes.
It is actually both.
Yep.
And to build a successful career, you have to have both things. There's a lot of people that we see, right? They complain about the nail business. It's very competitive. There's salons everywhere, okay, that are cranking out sets. And how do you compete? There's 2 ways. You compete on quality of your work, right? Which is what we always teach. Like, get your nail art game up. Give them service that maybe salons in your vicinity can't give them, okay? But also, you got to compete on time. Our market, the U.S. market, has been conditioned to get in and out of the chair either in 30 minutes or in an hour.
Right.
Okay. That's the way it is. And I think this piece of information is so important for all nail professionals out there, is that most consumers do not want to sit in the chair for longer than an hour. This is just statistics. Okay. Yeah. You got to use that as a nail pro. If you've got and here's the thing, if you're starting out or you're working on your game, the clients will understand initially, you know what I'm saying? But you got to improve that time. You got to get that time up to where it needs to be.
Yeah. I think what, the statement that was made, I actually responded to the person that posted it, that I saw. And I was like, first of all, I am proud that I go fast.
Right.
I am proud of that. It's not being cocky or bragging about it.
I'm a great skill.
Very proud of that.
Yes.
But I'm also very proud of my service and the quality of my service.
Right.
So I do believe in both, and I don't, and I think sometimes people kind of think, oh, she went so fast, but if she'd spent another 30 minutes, those nails would have looked so much better. No, I probably would have thinned them out so much, just giving myself something to do.
Right.
That, so I stop when I'm happy with the nails.
Yep, exactly. And I've seen your work now for like over and over. Every single week we're shooting content. I've been shooting your nails for I don't know how long now, a couple years. Hundreds of sets of nails. And I've seen people go in and out the door. Your nails don't break. They don't chip. They don't lift. None of that.
No.
And this is the biggest part of it all. The number of sets of nails that you've had on your hand in the last 2 years is insane.
It's crazy. And Steph.
It's insane.
It's insane.
It is applied and removed constantly, multiple times a week, okay? Both of their natural nails are in perfect health. That is the true test.
That's quality.
That is freaking quality.
Yeah.
That is hard. If you go to somebody, you know what I'm saying? You know what's funny is like I'll meet somebody out in just like friends of the family, and I'll see set of nails and be like, gel? I can tell. And they're like, yeah, I love
it. They're like weirdo.
Yeah, they're like stranger. I asked them, hey, you get gel? Yes. How do you get it removed? They soak it and, then they take a thing. I'm always curious of the removal process and then I ask them, does it hurt? Sometimes but it's okay, right? And I'm like, no. It's actually not. Like, I'm so curious as to, that process because I know how it's supposed to be done. And I understand removal and I understand keeping the natural nails healthy at all times. You know what I mean? And that's what we're about here. But that statement is like half true. Quality, but also you cannot discount quantity. Quantity is essential in a successful nail career.
But what are we to focus on quality first?
Always. You have to get that.
Then go speed.
Yep. So you get that down because the thing is that somebody will wait in a chair if the quality is good. You know what I mean? For a little while in the beginning. When they'll be understanding.
Yeah.
I think they will. But you can't build a career off of 3-hour sets. Obviously, number one, unless you're charging for it. Number two, unless the client really understands this is your nail business, the type of business that you have. For the majority, in the high 90 percentile of nail professionals, you want to build a career, you better focus on quality, you better focus on quantity.
Yep.
You got to focus on both. And with that, say thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next week on the Biz Talk.